Neo Queen Serenity, Queen of Crystal Tokyo and the whole Earth in the 30th century? Does she always wear her nightgown in public? Somebody ought to give her a fashion citation.
Moon Podcast Escalation!
Everyone, my name is Jordan D. White.
My name is Chris Sims, and this is Sailor Business. It's the podcast where we sit down with a friend each and every week and watch an episode of the classic 1992 Sailor Moon anime and talk about just why it is that we love it so much. And today, we are journeying into the future.
We're all interested in the future because that is where we will spend the rest of our lives.
I mean, that's true. That's true. It's the far-off year of 3992. 3993, probably, I think. When we watch Sailor Moon R, episode 83, The Shocking Future Demands Dark Ambition. And in order to help us talk about it and get through a lot of, just a lot of talking, just a whole lot of talking in 2 episodes, we have the return of a very special guest, a guest that we are super excited to have back on the show. Shannon Maynor is here. Shannon, welcome back.
Hey guys, thanks for having me back.
A pleasure.
Shannon, you will no doubt remember from her previous appearances on the show. You are an artist, you are an animator, you are someone who has done I would say someone that I call out by name to get you to do art for the show.
Yeah, that's happened.
That's happened several times.
It's cool.
What all have you drawn for us? You drew Hell Yes Marad, which I want to put on a t-shirt.
I drew Hell Yes Marad. I did the little comic for Alice in Stock, the Bomb Soup.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the Bomb Soup comic, that one was great.
Oh gosh, what else have I done? I remember I did the tennis ball Sailor Moon a while back, yes. And I still have to do Winnie the Pooh Pluto.
Winnie
the Pooh with 2 U's.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, most importantly, you drew my mustache on an episode of Archer. So
I did draw your mustache on an episode of Archer.
So Shannon, you've been on the show before. You clearly have a lot of Sailor Moon feelings and opinions.
I have plenty of them, yes.
So since we've already talked about your history with the show, when we have guests coming back, I like to ask about Sailor Moon developments in your life. So, do you have anything new to discuss in terms of Sailor Moon?
Oh, well, Sailor Moon Crystal Season 3 is amazing. There's been a new musical, which was the 3rd musical, New Voyage, and they just announced a bunch of news for the 4th musical, which I'm very excited about. I have a house now, so I have somewhere to hang up all of the Sailor Moon art I have, which is really cool and exciting.
When you say Sailor Moon art, do you mean like from the show or from the animation?
Actually, yeah. David did buy me a animation cell for Christmas, so awesome. I have that over my desk right now.
So of the 3 of us, I'm the one who doesn't have an animation cell from Sailor Moon.
I mean, they're not that easy to get, are they?
I don't know. David had an easy enough time. The one he originally wanted to get me, while he was looking up to make sure it was real, it got sold really fast, but he found me another one that's really nice.
When I got mine, it was at San Diego Comic-Con, but it was a couple of years ago. And the most recent time I went to San Diego, I went, I wonder if I can easily find more cells of Sailor Moon. And I wasn't able to. Now, that being said, San Diego is a mess and a giant clusterfuck, so it could have been there, and I just didn't know. Let me see if I'm just checking eBay if I can just.
Yeah, I'm looking on eBay right now to see if there's any that I would be super into, which means it would have to be Ami eating a hamburger or cat's buttholes.
Here's a weird one. The first one that comes up is a picture of Usagi, which would be a totally normal and cute picture of Usagi, except for the fact that it's drawn from probably like Luna's point of view, so it's a little looking up at her, and it makes it very strange and awkward.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing about animation cells is not every frame of animation looks good.
Right. Here's a
we
great
we
movie.
did since we've been talking about cells before. We had there's a cell available on eBay right now from I think our last episode where with the two droids, the two twin droids.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And that one's only $20. We could buy that right now while we record.
I'm
this is a
gonna
pretty good.
tweet you
Saga.
guys my cell.
Yeah, because Jordan, you just have kind of a random picture of Serena.
Yes.
I was going to call her Usagi, but I know when you look at it, you do not see Usagi. You
That
see
is very
Serena.
Very, very true. Yeah, it's just a random picture of her, but I thought, and she's making a really funny face. But I was like, I like that. Oh, wow, that's a really nice one that you've got. It's got 4 scouts on it and everything.
Yeah, it's from episode 81 actually.
Oh, so we watched it a couple weeks ago.
It looks.
Oh, wow, that's a really cool one. Yeah.
Yeah, David said he originally wanted to get me one that had Super Sailor Moon and Super Chibi Moon, because Super Sailor Moon's my favorite version of Sailor Moon, but he says it sold pretty much immediately. But this one, he was like, it has the 4 scouts and Jupiter's up front, so I thought you'd like it.
Now, I do not recall Morrigan from Darkstalkers being in that episode.
No, I just put that there so I can look at her.
Okay. Now, you have a cell from episode 81. This is episode 83.
There's some good ones.
I booked the guests so long ago that I do not remember who chose their episode and who had their episode assigned to them.
I
So
picked
do
my
you-
episode.
Okay, so you wanted to do these two.
Yes.
Okay, why?
Because there's a scene in this episode that I despise, and it's so much better in the manga, and I have to talk about it.
Here's the one that Chris should buy right there.
I wonder if it's the one that I am looking at because that's a good one. That's a good one. Here's a cell from the Fox live action animation never produced pilot that I want to buy.
Oh
It's
my god.
$150.
Oh god.
The one that I said he should buy. Oh my god, that is terrible. The one that I said he should buy is Sailor Jupiter, or it's really Mako holding a teddy bear. Oh.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
cute.
that one's so cute.
So, Shannon,
Yeah.
What is Luna wearing? I'm sorry. There's one where Luna is wearing like an outfit, and it's ridiculous.
hey, let me go ahead and tell you, all this visual content is really working well for the
I'm
listeners right
telling
now.
people
It's
what I've
hilarious for
seen.
us, so they can just wait.
So, Shannon, like we have talked about this bit of Sailor Moon R before,
Yeah.
and I've been a little down on these episodes lately. I will
fair.
tell you right now, I don't like Future Tuxedo Mask,
No one does, it's okay.
Prince Consort Endymion, as I have taken to calling him.
I think in my notes I wrote this dumb in purple.
Yes, exactly. Right after, like about 2 episodes from now, I'm going to be real stoked. I'm going to tell you that. Because when Wicked Lady shows up and starts terrorizing the world because of birthday forgetfulness, it's going to be amazing. Now, in the manga, these 2 episodes play out differently.
Yeah.
Uh,
In the manga, the whole end of R plays out completely differently.
So is that a section of the story that you actually enjoy? Like, do you like going to Neo Crystal Tokyo?
I love R in the manga. I have a hard time getting through it in the anime.
It's
Look,
rough.
fair, very fair.
It's still good. I still like the finale that we get in R for the anime. Like, it's good, but it's just one of those, like, what we had originally, I personally think is better, and it sticks with me more. Like, I always go back to the R manga, and then, like, in my head, I'm like, oh, I'll rewatch the R anime. Then I watch it, I'm like, where is everything? Oh, right. They didn't add it in.
Yeah, R is like we're kind of coming towards the end of R now, and it's such a weird. It's so weird. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a weird chunk of Sailor Moon. Like, even at its weirdest, the first season like follows a linear path. You know, it's okay. We got four mini bosses and then a boss. Let's get through it. And ours like, I don't know. Here's some alien kids. Here's some memory problems. Here's your bad guys. Oh wait, those aren't your bad guys. Here's some other bad guys.
Yeah, in the manga, things are a lot more clear. There's a lot of exposition, there's a lot of exposition in this episode, and it's almost worse in the manga, but there's at least, like, a plot, so it's not as bad. And, like, I don't know, because there's scenes in R, where I'm like, oh, you guys clearly had the manga, like, you were caught up, I get it, that's fine. And then the immediate next scene, I'm like, or did you not have the manga? I don't know where you guys are.
Yeah. It gets frustrating because, again, there are some good episodes and then there are some clunkers.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of, it's been a while since I've read through R in the manga, so I only have the haziest memories of it. But something that I wrote about when I was writing about the X-Men animated series was that they would do adaptations of stuff that had already happened, right? Like, they would do the Dark Phoenix saga, and they get it mostly right. But then they'd also do, like the Age of Apocalypse story in the cartoon actually comes before Age of Apocalypse in the comics. And then they do, like, the Phalanx Covenant, and it's like they have a radio that's kind of on the fritz, and they're just getting, like, garbled messages from the people making the comics.
Yeah, sure.
And sometimes I feel like that's how it goes with Sailor Moon, too.
Yeah, they kind of get a bit more on track when they get to S, because S is a bit closer to the manga. Like, there's still obvious changes because the manga kind of gets pretty dark and serious, and the 90s anime is definitely a comedy. So they kind of steer it towards comedy where it's a bit more melodramatic and sad in the manga. So I can get some changes that way, but in R there's just so many changes where I'm like, okay, but why? Why did you do this? I don't get it. And there's a big scene for that in this episode for me, and it just... Poor David, when we first watched this episode, it ended and I went on like a 40-minute rant. And he was just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
If only you had some kind of outlet where you could do a 40-minute rant on an episode of Sailor Moon.
I'll try my hardest to have it not be that long, but I have some things to say.
Okay. Well, with that in mind, what do you think, Jordan? Should we do a listener question or two before we get into the episode?
Yeah. Here's one that is not super relevant to this episode, but that's probably for the best because it talks about things about the actual real world instead of weird future fantasy world, which I want to talk about anyway. So Phil asks, why is the government so incompetent in the Sailor Moon universe?
Oh, I thought that was going in a vastly different direction. I thought you were just going to be like, yeah, why is the government so incompetent, man? Like, Sailor Business is the hottest political forum on the internet.
I mean, that could be your answer, Chris. It's because it's real, man. Because it's just like real life.
Okay, like, okay. Is the government in Sailor Moon especially, like, does he mean the government of the Juban district in the present, or does he mean the reign of Neo Queen Serenity and Prince Consort Endymion?
I'm assuming he means in the present. Yeah. Because again, like you said, their citizenry is falling into comas in the streets sometimes. And they don't seem to do much about it.
What are they supposed to do? Hand out legendary silver crystals to the cops?
Well, if this was happening in the real world, I mean, there would be probably quarantines and martial law declared and stuff like that.
I feel like that might be a little heavy for a show for babies.
Probably.
Yeah, a little bit.
If Usagi's like running to school with toast hanging out of her mouth, but she's running through like children of men. Like just fires in the streets.
All right, now I'll be honest. I don't know much about how the Japanese government works. But let's talk about America for a moment and say, like, what do you think? Yeah, if the stuff that happened on Sailor Moon happened in a town in America, in a city in America, what would they do?
Well, I mean, Jordan, we have pretty clear examples of that from Marvel Comics. Which is that they don't do much.
Okay. Yeah, those are fake too. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, okay, so you want to go ahead and take, like, rock monsters and silver crystals and energy draining people, but you don't want any of the other stuff. You want a realistic take on this.
No, I just want to say, what would they do?
Okay, what do you think they would do?
I mean, again, probably the things I said, which would be really effed up and dark, like you said. But, I mean, I don't know. That would be interesting. Would they talk about that sort of thing? I guess they would. They'd end up talking about it in, like, the election cycles and stuff. Like, we have to look into this, energy sickness that everyone keeps getting.
Sailor Moon, she's a total disaster.
See, I'm just thinking if this happened in Atlanta, everyone would probably just ignore it because we'd assume it's some movie getting filmed, and then a few days later see it on the news and you're like, oh, oops. We just complained there was traffic. Because I've definitely driven by a few buses on fire and just go, oh, that must be Walking Dead. Then the next day, see it on the news, and be like, oh, that was a real bus fire.
Wow. That's effed up.
Yikes. No, like, I have this question about Power Rangers, because, like, buildings are getting destroyed.
Well, yeah, they're
like,
giant monsters.
Yeah, giant robots are, like, falling into buildings and crushing them as though they are made of cardboard, mysteriously, in every week. Like, every Saturday, every Sunday, like, a building gets taken down. And they're just like, and the city is back to normal the next day. It's like, wow, let's go get ice cream.
Well, what were the last, let me see, it's been a while since we were in the actual past. Oh, no, the last thing, okay, Chris, the last thing that happened in an episode in the present was
that a elementary school was destroyed by a riot?
An elementary school of children rioted. And the teachers, let's be fair, they all destroyed everything in it. That would be huge news. That would be on everyone's list to talk about. Definitely Donald Trump has something to say about that.
Oh, God.
Definitely Hillary has something to say about that. Very different things, presumably.
Yeah, it's... The scale of Sailor Moon is really weird, I think. Because it's like, oh no, I might not be able to win this tennis match. Right, it's like, oh no, multiple jets exploded.
So, like, yeah, because, like, the episode before that, you had a girl got accused of cheating. Okay, that's not as big. Probably not on the news. But before that, you have animals attack people at an animal sanctuary. That's a little bigger.
I don't know. I think it would probably make the news if Ami Mizuno was caught cheating.
With her 300 IQ?
With her 300 IQ. She's got the perfect score on the national practice exam.
But not on the actual exam. She missed one.
She missed one. And she got a 495 out of 500.
And then again, the episode before that, everyone got sick. Like, the entire city, basically, got sick. So a lot of it is making news.
Okay, is it the whole city, or is it just, like, the Juban district? Is this, like, a Daredevil thing, where it's just literally 2 blocks of New York?
It might have just been Juban. We're not 100% sure.
Yeah, a lot of it all just goes down in Juban. Although there was the episode, like was that amusement park in the Juban district?
Hard to
You'll
say.
hear what happened in Tokyo Disney?
Hard to say.
So yeah, the government, like, I think, look, this is beyond the scope of the government, and this is why the government is then replaced with a hereditary reincarnation moon monarchy. As we will see in just a few minutes.
All right, well, let's see if we got some other...
A new crystal-based form of government.
Well, hey, man, we all live forever, so it's not that bad.
We have a lot of emails about that.
Do we really? Okay,
we have a lot of emails about Chibiusa's immortality.
Should we save them for next episode?
Sitting in the old inbox.
I believe it.
Do we want to do any more questions? What do you think?
Let's do one more real quick.
All right, well... Okay, here's a really dorky one from me. James Gibson said, please, more on Jordan's Rocky Horror mashup. Who played who?
No.
You don't want to hear about this?
No.
You're so mean.
I am.
Here's what it was. So obviously Serena was Janet. Well, no, actually, no, she was. Serena was Janet, Darian was Brad, but Rubius was Frankenfurter.
Oh, God.
Because again, because of the 65 episode cutoff, so like in my mind, Rubius was like the most important character.
Can Meatloaf just stay Meatloaf for like no reason?
No, he was Jedi, back from eternal sleep.
Can it just be Meatloaf dressed as Jedi?
Sure.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Jedi was back from eternal sleep. Dr. Scott was Maxfield Stanton. Catsy and Birdie kind of alternated being Columbia because. Like, Catsy made sense at some points, but also she doesn't seem very much like Columbia, so I ended up using Birdie for other parts. And Avery and Prisma were Riff Raff and Magenta. And I think that's all the important characters, right? Am I missing anybody?
Can I pick up my headphones again?
Oh, you're the worst. Let me see if I still have it somewhere. Because I wrote lyrics to quite a few of the songs.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I'll have to search for it.
Oh boy.
Did you just get taken over by Dr. Sam Beckett?
I wish I had leapt out of my body during this conversation.
I do. I found it.
Nope. Moving on. Real quick email before we get started. This is a fun one. This comes from Mike Donahue. who says, so my wife and I both love the podcast. Thank you. I grew up watching Sailor Moon here and there in syndication, and my wife got into it after listening to me listen to Sailor Business. And seemingly unrelated, we got 4 parakeets last year. Little did we know that it was 3 girls and 1 boy. Long story short, we've got several new little baby birds to name. The daddy bird is named Grayson after the one and only Dick Grayson because the bird is gray, a hyper acrobat, and girl crazy. And the mama bird is named Mercury after Ami Mizuno, kind-hearted girl genius. T-shirt currently available at sailorbusiness.ttoki.com. She's blue, super intelligent, and kind of shy. How does one measure the intelligence of a parakeet, by the way? That's a question. Like, what test are you giving?
Well, she got
for further
score, so.
For further reference, the other 2 are named River after River Song from Doctor Who, and Bailey after NXT's Bailey. So after all that setup, my question is this. What kind of names would you give to the children of Dick Grayson and Ami Mizuno? Or what Sailor Moon type names would you give pet birds? That's probably a less insane question. If all else fails, they'll be named after Shinsuke Nakamura or something. Hope this question gets some laughs. Mike Donahue, who is at Barely Sushi on Twitter.
Wow. Nightwing and Sailor Mercury having babies. What do we call them? That's a toughie.
Surely this has happened on fanfiction.net, right?
Probably.
Probably an MPreg sort of thing, though, I imagine.
Oh, God.
Let's see. Dick Grayson's parents are named Richard and Mary, so...
Really? Same as Peter Parker's? They're not going to be able to fight for very long, right?
Oh, no, wait. Maybe I'm thinking of Peter Parker's parents. Now I'm confused.
Yeah, no, Dick Grayson is Richard Grayson.
Yeah, you're right. You got me. Jake, edit that out. Edit that out. This is some blow to my cred.
Yeah, the Flying Graysons. What were the Flying Graysons called?
Now I need to look it up. So what's Ami's mom's name? Doctor. Okay, so Doctor will be one of them, named for Ami's mom.
I'm just trying to think of Sailor Moon related bird puns, but I've only had 1 cup of coffee, so I can't think of any.
Birdie.
That's low hanging fruit.
It's Jonathan and Mary apparently are the Flying Graysons.
But their mothers were both named Mary. So there you go.
Where'd you get that name?
Oh yeah, just name them all Martha.
That's a good idea. How come Sailor Moon R doesn't end like that with my name's Usagi Tsukino? Where'd you get that name? That's my name.
Well, so that's Rini talking when you do that voice.
No, that was Sailor Moon. Rini said it first.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So somewhere there should be like Damon standing on the ground as Usagi flies away going, "Do you bleed? 'Cause you will."
It's like so early in this recording session, and we're already so far off the rails.
Speaking of which, obviously Luna was the criminologist, and Zoisite was Rocky Horror. So go ahead. Sorry, I had to finish.
Nice.
You can come back.
Zoisite, really?
Yeah, and then it ended up being this gag because of the gender swapping thing, so that he makes Zoisite as a man, and then the censors come in and change it into a girl.
No, pass. Hard pass, Jordan. I would say Doctor should be one of them. Name one after Ami's mom.
Yeah, and Flying Graysons would make a lot of sense for the birds.
Yeah,
that should be the family.
There you go. The Flying Graysons. I hope that is a satisfactory answer to this strange question. The next 5 emails in a row are all people explaining Chibiusa being 900 years old.
I'll pretend I don't have a stack of manga next to me to help do the same thing.
Chris is gonna really have to wrestle with whether he'll ban Shannon.
I don't know. Shannon's a pretty good guest, but I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out what happens. Let's get into the episode. We're dilly dallying.
Oh, you want to just get right to it? All right. There's a lot to talk about.
Jordan.
Let's keep our mind on Sailor Business.
Let's do it. Now, I guess I should say the 5-second 5-second recap has been voted down.
Aww.
It has been, the people have spoken. Me explaining Sailor Moon in 5 seconds has been banned. I have been banned from my own show in the cruelest of ironies.
Yeah. In fact, we've got there was a banner made.
With an eagle on it and everything.
What?
Saying vote.
It was vote nope. So I won't. I will only be doing the recap when it is absolutely necessary. But I do think I need to tell everybody where we are in the story because things have gotten pretty complicated over the past few episodes. We are currently in the future because in the last episode of Sailor Moon, they traveled through the corridor of time, which was a literal hallway with a door at one end and another door at the other. But you could still just come to it from wherever. That episode. But the end result of that was that the Sailor Senshi have ended up back in Chibiusa's native time period of the 30th century, where hopefully they will team up with the Legion of Superheroes. I would watch that.
Are they on? Yeah, they're on Earth, right?
Yeah.
The Legion?
Yeah.
Mostly, yes.
I
Like
thought
their base is in, let's see, is it in Smallville or Metropolis?
It's in Metropolis.
Metropolis. Okay, that makes most sense. I mean, when I was scrolling through the season to get to this episode to play along while we talk, and it just was like I was watching as the episode scrolled by, and I was like, oh man, like the chess episode. That seems like 50 years ago.
It seems like it's from a different show.
Right. It's like so long ago. It's been a long season. This is a long season. I mean, it's the same length as all the seasons, but it's a long season.
Yeah. Again, like 2 weeks ago, these kids were worried about Ami being accused of cheating on a test. Now they've time traveled to save the future from an invasion from planet Nemesis.
See, I just recently reread this arc in the manga to get ready for this, and now all of this just sounds even more bananas.
Now, Shannon, should I go grab the manga off the shelf so I can follow along with your points?
If you want to. I mean, go for it.
Which volume is this? Is this volume 3 or volume 4?
4 and 5.
4 and 5?
I was going to say,
okay.
how many chapters of manga is the entirety of Sailor Moon arc?
I don't know. I didn't pay attention to the numbers. Hold on.
Okay.
I know
Probably
it's
not
at
that many,
least
though.
I know it's at least like 3 volumes of the books, but
Really?
I think volume 3 R starts like halfway through.
Yeah, R starts in volume 3. Chibi, that's where Chibiusa shows up.
And I think, let me check. Hold on, I have 5 right here. Yeah, R ends in 5.
Okay.
All right, so I have pulled the manga off the shelf so that I can cross-reference it along with Shannon, which I suggest our listeners also do some homework to enjoy this show.
I mean, you guys don't have to. I just really like the manga, and I try really hard to not compare it to the 90s anime because I know it's not fair. But then there's episodes like this where I just have to.
This episode.
Hey, you know what they do in the manga? They just go through the door that Sailor Pluto is guarding, and then they're in the future. There's none of this corridor of time bullshit.
You also know what happens in the manga? Pluto matters and has a personality.
Oh.
And Venus does too.
Yeah, Venus is great in the manga.
There's a lot to talk about in this episode because so many crazy things happen.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just get started. Right. So we open. We've got the Sailor Senshi, Sailor Moon, Sailor Mercury, Sailor Mars, Sailor Venus, Sailor Jupiter. We've got Luna and Artemis, so they brought a couple cats with them.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
We have Tuxedo Mask, the world's worst superhero.
No.
And we have Chibiusa and the Luna P, who of course makes sense being there, as she is the one who dragged them through the time stream. So we open with them standing on a cliff, looking over the future city of Crystal Tokyo.
Which is 100% dead.
Well, it's like 99%.
As far as we're aware, actually, evidence of this episode says there is one person alive and a ghost, which I'm sure will turn out to be alive. Oh, and well, Devin is reminding me that the Sailor Scouts are alive. We don't see them, we don't meet up with them in this episode. We hear that they're alive, but I guess it's been
established that they're standing back to back around the big pillar of light.
Literally, powering a force field is what they are doing with their time. Great.
I can't wait until we just give up on buildings and just start living in hollowed out crystals, because that seems efficient and fun.
Even though keyboards made out of crystals seem really confusing. I don't know what Endymion's doing with that thing later.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Chibiusa sees her home in ruins and flips out about her mom and runs off in the opposite direction. like away from Crystal Tokyo, but towards her mother somehow.
Well, they're
Weird
on a
staging.
cliff. She has to run back to get, down the cliff somehow.
I suppose.
Can I say, in the manga, there's less subtlety. You literally see dead bodies on the floor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I forgot about that part when I was reading it. I was just like, oh, they just, like, point to some dead bodies and are like, oh, this is terrible. Let's get to that castle real quick.
Yeah, like, the thing people forget about with Sailor Moon sometimes, and I mean, I say people, but, me, certainly, like, you forget that the show is for babies, but the manga, like I said, you know what happens to Nephrite? He is burned to death by Sailor Jupiter in his first appearance.
Yeah. Naoko Takeuchi loves drawing dead bodies and burnt corpses.
She really does.
You see a lot of them in R.
Oh, man. Well, that's why there's so much fog around, so that you don't see the dead bodies.
Just keep stepping over them. Just don't look down.
So they run after Chibiusa, who just has lost them already. And
they just run straight into the opening stage from Castlevania.
And a mysterious stranger approaches.
All right. Let's talk about this mysterious stranger.
He's got a lot of medals.
He's got 3 medallions, so clearly his sorceress powers are off the charts.
He worked really hard for those, okay?
Yeah.
What do you think they're for?
They're all in rose throwing.
Yeah, but one's like smaller than the others. Is that like his third prize for rose throwing?
That one's for cape twirling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He works really hard, okay?
So he says something to them, like, hey, dudes, whatever. I forget what exactly he says. And Usagi's like, I recognize that voice. And then we have a flashback to a dream. So
yeah, we have a flashback to a dream prompted by a ghost in the future.
Yes. So in this, it's the dream where her and it's probably a prophetic dream. So it's a flashback to a prophecy of the future from the past.
It's a flashback to a dream that was actually a flash forward.
Oh god, this is Batman versus Superman.
A flashback.
So okay, it's Usagi and Mamoru getting married, and they're like, "Oh, I love you so much. I love you too. We're married. It's gonna be great." And then all of a sudden, the voice is like, "You can never get married because if you do, everything sucks." and the ground explodes and everybody falls and it's dangerous. And so then they're like, yeah, that was you saying all that shit.
This is after, by the way, after this guy walks out of the fog looking exactly like Mamoru in a tuxedo, but like a powder blue prom tuxedo, right, with his Dracula trophies on. And they're like, there are 2 tuxedo masks? And it's like, no, you're in the future. This, like, did you forget already?
Well, okay, in their gentle defense, and I say gentle because they're going to be this dumb for the rest of the episode. At least this one, you could say, they're really far in the future. They should not expect to be alive.
Yeah.
But once they know that Darien is alive in the future, it gets increasingly stupid that every time they find out anyone else is alive, they are equally shocked.
Yeah. Also, Sailor Moon's like, I recognize your voice. You're the guy who made that doomsday prediction. And it's like, yeah, you should recognize his voice because he is your boyfriend. And his voice is not different.
It's a little different. They make it a little.
It's all like a little like. Has she ever talked to Darien when Darien had a cold?
No. He's also still looks exactly like Mamoru, and he's not even. Is he wearing a mask here?
Yes,
I can't remember.
Again,
yes.
Same.
He's wearing a mask.
Then she definitely can't recognize him. He's wearing a mask. Never mind.
Not that mask ever matters, but yes, he's wearing that same mask.
So Mamoru. How are we going to distinguish these guys? I guess we'll say Mamoru and Prince Consort Endymion.
See, because actually that's my next question. Is that he says I'm Prince Endymion, and I'm going, why did he change his name?
Well, like it's when you need a king name.
What?
Well, it's no different than Usagi going by Serenity when she becomes Neo Queen Serenity.
Yeah, also pretty dumb. Like
no,
that
they need stage names.
It's like becoming Pope. Like you have to choose your Moon King name, just like you choose a papal name.
She doesn't want people digging up her old bad grades under Usagi's skin when she's queen of the world because they could use that against her.
A 30? Well, you don't have elections. You don't have elections for queen, though. So what are they going to do? I guess they're going to start a revolution. Our queen only got a 30 in English.
Yeah.
So Mamoru,
he charges him.
yeah, charges him, whips out his cane, and again, like, just tries to, I guess, beat his future self.
Yes.
He doesn't realize yet that he's his future self, is the thing.
Slight. No, I think he does, but also, again, slight defense. They've met fakes before. They've met illusions. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe he's like, this is a trick.
Also, if my future self showed up in like a shitty purple outfit, I'd probably try to fight her too.
Oh, do you know what he calls himself in the Deke version instead of Neo King Endymion?
What does he call himself?
King of the Earth. That's all. I am King of the Earth.
So,
oh no, they call me King of the Earth. In fact,
they call me King of the Earth.
That's what,
yeah, I mean, people are just going. I mean, it's just something people call me. You know, it's not a big deal. But if you could, like, maybe get that started, that would be cool.
Try to make it catch on.
So Mamoru takes a swing with his cane. Instead of throwing a rose, you'd think he would throw a rose, but as we know, Endymion is rose type, so the rose would not be very effective. And he passes right through him, just falls right through.
which causes Amy to say, he's not real.
I mean, look, that's the most rational thing anyone has said so far.
No, I would say, like, either he's a ghost or he's a hologram. He's not real is a weird thing to say, because his reply should be, well, I'm real, I'm just not here.
It's also just a little rude.
That's, for someone who has said the phrase, crystals aren't real before, you're getting real nitpicky about the language being used here.
Yeah,
Crystals
you went straight
exist.
to ghost instead of hologram?
Well, I mean, hologram is more likely they are in the future. And it's a very crystal-y future, so holograms would make sense.
So, Usagi is understandably like, wait, if you're Mamoru in the future, why are you trying to break up me and Mamoru in the past by giving us prophetic dreams, you asshole?
Also, another thing that wasn't in the manga.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, none of this breakup stuff was in the manga. Like, there's a conflict between Usagi and Mamoru because of Chibiusa, but they kind of just, they don't break up, they just kind of have, like, a fight, and then it's fine. And then they have a fight again, and then it's not fine, and then it's eventually fine again.
Meanwhile...
So a transparent King Endymion is like, oh, don't worry about that child that came with you. I've got her in a safe place. Not creepy at all.
Ugh.
Well, again, if he really is future Darien, we should be like, that's fine. You're future Darien. It's no problem.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is it
but-
fine for future Darien to just put children in places?
Yeah, put them in a bed that rises out of the ground? I'm not okay with that.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Meanwhile, at BMC HQ, Black Moon Clan headquarters,
Which is a new place now.
which is, yeah, well, this is the prime Black Moon Clan headquarters. This is central. They're like, yes, they've finally come to the future. Not the present, which is how you would expect them to describe it.
Yep.
Also, they've been waiting for these time travelers.
None of this makes sense. Also,
None of the time travel in this show makes sense.
They don't want them to come to the future. They wanted to defeat them in the past. That was the whole plan.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Also, to answer one of your guys' previous questions about their time travel, they're not using Pluto's gate. The black crystal is how they travel through time, so it's outside of Pluto's control.
Except that then they were in the corridor of time.
Yeah, that doesn't exist in the manga, so I don't know what kind of sense they're trying to make in the show. Like, in the manga, they kind of don't really leave their weird hologram pillar palace, so they just kind of do their own thing from using the black crystal.
Okay. Prince Demand is just literally making eyes at a hologram of the Queen.
Yeah, because he's like, they've come to the future. Sailor Moon looks exactly like Neo Queen Serenity, the all-powerful goddess who rules over Crystal Tokyo. Awesome. Two Usagis.
He's the worst.
So he's like literally noticeably making goo eyes at her because everybody else in the room is like, oh, Jesus. Especially, obviously, Esmeralda, who is jealous as all get out. Also, she has a new fan. She destroyed her fan before, and now she has a new one. She has an endless supply, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, she gets them in the same place that Tuxedo Mask gets his roses.
Oh,
Yeah, just a pocket dimension full of fans.
The Rose and Fan Store.
that must be a Crystal Point. So she's like, oh man, I hate her so much. And then Saphir, I can't, again, I don't really remember what happens going forward. I'm just sitting here like, is Saphir ever going to do anything but bitch? And I don't know that, I don't remember if he does or not. Because so far, all he does is say, this is a bad plan. Everybody here sucks, and our plans are all shit.
Yeah, Saphir is what you would call an audience surrogate.
Yeah, that's consistent in the manga too.
He's a viewpoint character, Jordan.
So we're supposed to think the bad guys are all idiots.
He also sounds like he's always yelling.
Oh yeah.
Do we think the bad guys are all idiots? I do.
I don't know if we're supposed to or not. That's all.
Okay, here's my whole thing. What is their plan? What do they want? Okay.
Well, we can't talk about it yet because we haven't gotten to the reveals of the entire thing yet.
But for 20 episodes, at least 20 episodes, they've been like, hey, let's take over Crystal Points and strengthen up our position in the future. Like, let's go to the 20th century. Let's go to 1993.
You're right.
And shore everything up. Now they're like, oh, hey, the Sailor Scouts are here. Like, if they're here, they can't be there because of how time travel works on this show. So why don't we just go back right now and spend, and just, jack up all the Crystal Points?
Well, but even more so, now that you've said that, I have an even bigger question, which is, what the fuck would a Crystal Point gain them? They've destroyed everything.
I mean, that's also true.
Like, the entire city except one building is dead. What if they had Bob Floyd's, would they be like, now what? I don't know. Now we have ice cream.
Yeah, this is definitely a part where the anime kind of complicates what was there in the manga for no reason except for to have more episodes, which I totally get. But in the manga, it's just 100%. They destroy the future. Chibiusa escapes. They're just like, oh, she has something we need. Let's go back and grab her. So they're just 100% looking for Chibiusa. And then when all the characters come back to the past and they get all caught up with them.
I will say that the anime may have complicated things, but it did simplify King Endymion's outfit, which looks like it's the opening credits from Saved by the Bell.
That is true.
In the manga.
What?
But you know who looks really good in that outfit? Yamada Yuga.
I can imagine.
Actually, I have some pictures of her ready on my computer, because I always do. I'm going to send those to you guys, because she looks amazing as King Endymion.
Yeah, in case you don't know, Yamada Yuga is the woman who plays Tuxedo Mask and Mamoru in the Sailor Moon musicals, and she is gorgeous.
She's the best.
And amazing.
Oh, she's so good.
And looks so good as Tuxedo Mask.
It looks like manga Tuxedo Mask has even more medallions.
Oh, yeah.
He's got 5. So he's got rose throwing, cape twirling, negging, I think is in there.
Dramatic exposition.
A mask with ribbons coming out.
He's got a masquerade mask. It's a look. It is certainly a look.
This way everyone else can see it too, so we're not just talking to ourselves.
Oh wow, look at all that. That's exactly like the manga.
Yeah. I know. She looks so good. And the whole time she's walking around, she keeps that cape out, and it's great.
Which musical is this?
This is Petita Stranger, which is the second one in the new stage. It's also my favorite of the new musicals. It's really good.
Now, is Dracula in that one?
No. The new stage of musicals, they're very close to the manga, except outside of a few changes to make it better for a stage show. But yeah, they're really close to the manga and really good. I recommend them.
Awesome.
Once again, Prince Demand sends Esmeralda off to go capture Rabbit. Because once again, we gotta get Rabbit. Just gotta get her. But Esmeralda is very upset that Queen Serenity has captured Damon's heart.
Right. Because, Esmeralda wants to be I'm going to just go kill Sailor Moon quick. But Prince Damon says he's going to do it himself. He'll take care of her himself, which is surprising for a boss to take the reins like that. All right, this is it. You ready for this? Now it's time for the big scene. This is where there's going to be a lot to think about, a lot to digest. So King Endymion says, all right, I'm going to lay it all out for you. A long, long time ago.
Are you sure he doesn't say, like, hey, can I get like 5 seconds?
He does not.
Is he also going to get banned from his own podcast to do
Can I get
that?
like 4 seconds? Can I just
But
get
he
like
does-
it real quick?
He does start that. No, none of that happens. He goes, all right, so here's the deal. Once upon a time, long time ago, there was a great calamity. An ice age happened, and everyone fell asleep. Okay, there's so much to digest already. That's not how ice ages work.
No, I'm pretty sure it is.
Oh, okay. Ice just comes out and everybody sleeps. Great.
That's what I do when it gets cold.
Sure.
I do when it gets hot or warm or
we
slightly
crossbred
cool.
humanity with bears at some point in the future, and everyone hibernates through an ice age.
Okay, it's really weird that this is your problem when the show has established that, like, comas happen on a weekly basis.
But no, that's the thing. If they said evil took over the earth and put everyone into a deep, dark sleep, I would go, gotcha. But they go, an ice age happened, which is a thing. That is a thing. They're not making up the term ice age unless they don't mean ice age as we know it.
Well, I think they clearly don't mean ice age as we know it, Jordan, because there's magic that happens instantly and puts everyone to sleep. I mean, you have to accept that. It's a show.
I mean, it's also possible that a good guy did magic and put everyone to sleep so they could sleep through the ice age. But also, let's talk about this also changes the entire shape of what we know about the future of Sailor Moon, because we constantly are talking about, for example, why don't Serena and Darien have a baby for 900 years? Well, apparently because they were fucking sleeping through an ice age is the answer.
I mean, yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
So maybe everybody doesn't live forever. It's maybe just 2 years from now there's an ice age and they don't wake up until the 30th century.
Here's my question. Like, okay, if an ice age happened, like if this happened right now, right?
Sure.
Like in early July 2016, there's an ice age. We all fell asleep. We're asleep
Yes.
for 1,000 years. Like
Yes.
when we pop out of when Sailor Moon thaws us all out, and we're like, oh boy, that was a long nap. Are we going to be like, okay, so clearly it's 3016?
Yes.
Or are we just going to be like, oh yeah, now I guess it's August. It's August 2016 because we've all been asleep. No one knew.
I mean, you're making it sound... See, I guess it depends on how easy it is. If it's literally as simple as you're making it sound, where it's like we literally are all just climbing to our beds one night and the next morning we wake up and it's 1,000 years later, yeah, we might be a little confused. I'm assuming...
It's 1,000 years later, and there's a 14-year-old girl who's like, hey, heads up, everybody, I'm an all-powerful goddess who is queen of the universe.
Well, she's not wrong. But I'm assuming...
Of course she's not wrong. I'm just saying, it would be a hard sell, I think.
I'm assuming it's a calamitous event. I'm assuming it's not just everybody's like, okay, well, I'll see you in the morning, and then they wake up 1,000 years later. I'm assuming it's like the world is ending, cataclysmic. Oh my God, everything's freezing over. What are we gonna do?
Right. So, like I said, July of 2016.
Right, but I'm saying, but
That's the feeling I have constantly.
You're not gonna feel that way. It's gonna be way worse. It's gonna be way, way, way worse. That is the fact that they just casually drop in an ice age is kind of mind-blowing to me. That there's a experimental theater production called Hamlet Machine that has my favorite stage direction of all time because it's the exact same thing and is equally absurd. There's a stage direction that says Ice Age, like in the middle of a scene, and I'm like, what? And it's an experimental piece, so interpret that as you will. You know, that's part of it. But very much what?
So, Shannon.
Yeah.
Is this how it goes down in the manga?
No.
Okay. So what happens in the manga?
In the manga, like, basically they meet King Endymion, and no one tries to fight him. They find out he's a hologram because Chibiusa tries to hug her dad, and he's not a person. And then they just they're all very calm and relaxed about it. They're just kind of like, all right, we know we're in the future. Things are crazy. Just tell us what's up. And they ask him why he looks the same if he's Mamoru from the modern time. He's just like, oh yeah, the Silver Millennium Crystal. We all live forever now. Whatever. It's okay.
Oh.
The way it was originally only Usagi, like she grew to 22, stopped aging, and just started living forever. And since Mamoru married her, he also got the after effects of the Silver Millennium Crystal. And just when she became queen of the planet and made like Crystal Tokyo, everyone got the benefit, and like war disappeared. Everyone gets to 22 and just lives forever, which is why it's a big deal that Chibiusa is 900 years old and still looks 6, because they don't know why she stopped aging.
Banned.
Was that fact banned or was Shannon?
Fact is banned. Fact is banned. Look, I actually feel like the Ice Age makes more sense.
The Ice Age is mental.
No, you like don't think of it. Okay, don't think of it as an Ice Age, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to apply the factual scientific idea of an Ice Age to a fantasy story. Think of it as a fairy tale, and think of it as
the Ice Queen froze the world. Yes, okay.
No. Think of it as, prick your finger on a spinning wheel and everybody falls asleep for 1,000 years. That's what it is.
So you'd accept that as a fairy tale, but not a magic crystal making you live forever?
Well, no,
there are
I'll
magic
tell you
crystals.
why. Because fashion and technology have not changed.
They have.
When you live for thousands of years, you probably get tired of upgrading stuff.
No, also, they're totally different. Look at all the ridiculous ways things look in the future.
Yeah.
They live in crystals.
Yeah, okay, we get a really cool shot of Crystal Tokyo, right? And it's the big crystal palace that we've seen, and like crystal highways, and it's all glistening and beautiful. And then we literally pull back a little bit, and it's just Tokyo. There's a bunch of crystals, and then there's like regular 1990s skyscrapers.
All right. Well, hold on. Okay, so let's get back.
Apartment building is there.
Let's get back to this. So,
okay.
Ice Age. There's an Ice Age. Everyone is asleep.
Everyone is comatose.
We're not sure how long this lasts because we're not sure when it starts, but it ends in the 30th century when Neo Queen Serenity uses the silver crystal to awaken everyone on Earth and thaw the ice, and everything is glorious and wonderful. And that's when we get this picture of Crystal Tokyo you're talking about. The world begins to prosper because she takes over.
Okay, I will say, this shot of the world recovering from the Ice Age, that's nuts.
That's a fairy tale shot.
Yeah, like, it's literally like a barren planet, like the moon, and then pink glitter travels over the surface and just, like, turns it back into Earth. Like, with water and land and everything. That's bananas. I love it, though. I love it.
So now here's the thing. That happened in the 30th century. But I've done some thinking about this.
Okay, you've done the math?
Not the literal math, but I've done the rough math. I've done the orders of magnitude math. That had to happen right at the beginning of the 30th century.
Okay.
And I'll get to why in a moment. Because what happens next is everything is awesome and prosperous. But then evil people appear who seek to conquer this peaceful world. And so there's a giant fight, bad guys versus good guys. Now, you might be tempted to think they're talking about the Black Moon Clan. They are not. This is not who they're talking about. Queen Serenity wins. And a good number of those people are moon-healed by the Silver Crystal, and they become good people. But not all of them. And it's the ones that say, screw your moon healing, fuck you, I don't like it. No mind control on me. I'm evil because I want to be. They get banished off of the planet.
They get a lifetime ban from Earth.
They get a lifetime ban from Earth, which they're going to break. And so then everything was great again. Until the coming of Nemesis. Planet Nemesis. Not Star Trek Nemesis. That's a terrible movie, but it's not the thing we're talking about. The 10th planet, Nemesis, comes back to Earth, and it turns out that's where everyone went. Now here was my first part where I went, wait, they're not saying this right. Because, okay, they're talking about the planet, and they're talking about, oh, nobody could find it, and we found it because it was giving off some evil mojo that we used our mojo detectors to find eventually, and then we could tell it was happening. That's where the bad guys went when they left Earth. And then he says they evolved over time.
All right, I think I see the problem.
Into beings with unique superpowers. They evolved. Now, my first thought was, he's just an idiot. And he's saying evolved when he means mutated, right? Like people went there and they got changed, and that's what it is. They didn't evolve. They didn't have time to evolve.
Yeah, again, Jordan, you edit X-Men books.
But hold on.
You edit my X-Men book.
But hold on. Now this is not something I normally would do, but I have to do this because it's important to me. I'm going to bring in a fact from the next episode. At the beginning of the next episode, Saphir says, our ancestors were banished by Queen Serenity. Our ancestors. He's not even like our parents or like ancestors could be grandparents, but he says our ancestors. So generations have passed since this happened. So maybe they really did evolve. So there might have been actual evolution, but that's why I'm saying, like, she had to have stopped the Ice Age in like the very beginning of the 30th century, and then this has to be like the very end of the 30th century at most.
Yeah, this. You know what? You know what? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Which part? The what I've said, or
it's all fine. It's all fine. You know what? I've changed my mind. The manga version makes more sense.
I'm checking pages right now to see what they say about the Black Moon Clan, and it looks like centuries before they got attacked by Prince Daemon, there was a guy that attacked them, but Queen Serenity kicked his ass, so they disappeared. And then the Black Moon Clan took over Nemesis. Like, it doesn't say if they're related to that guy.
Well, if it's centuries before, I mean, again, that would have simplified things too. But they fucked that up in the manga or in the anime by saying, in the 30th century, she did this. If it had just been, it could have been centuries ago that she did this. Except now they both say this happened in the 30th century and it is currently the 30th century.
Oh wait, here it is. It's there was a criminal that's not named that attacked them. She defeated them, sent them to Nemesis. And
I feel like criminal is a weird word.
That's a strange word.
It says, however, centuries ago, a criminal who received the death penalty was deported to the Earth and banished there. Nemesis became a blockaded world under no scrutiny and any access to it forbidden. But then with the dawn of the 30th century, mankind turned its eyes to the great power of Nemesis, and once again, research began on the planet. And then apparently Black Moon Clan took over. They're a clan of traitors. They apparently just hate the society that lives forever that Usagi's created. And they just want to kill everyone and have war happen again.
What noble goals.
I feel like there is the seed of a really, really interesting idea there. Which is that you have one group where everyone has achieved perfect 22-year-old immortality, where they are all a nation of Taylor Swifts who are all feeling 22.
Yeah.
And they live in peace. And then there's these people who have been exiled from that, and so they have to live and die. And by the nature of mortality, have to change and adapt and survive and fight. And so, like, you have this society where nothing has to change because everything is already perfect. And then this society that's constantly changing because they're on this harsh planet where, you know, where mortality is a very real thing. That conflict, I think, is really interesting. And that conflict being interesting does not come through in the anime.
Yeah,
it's really weird.
When we get to the scene with Daemon and Usagi, Daemon goes on a whole exposition in the manga explaining his motivation, basically, and it is really interesting, and he's terrible, but it's at least interesting and a good motivation. It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've said before that, like, I prefer the anime to the manga, like, generally in almost all situations, but I feel like this is one where the sort of world building aspect of it and the idea of the conflict favors the manga on every level. Like on a practical, like, storytelling level, like they don't have Bob Floy, you know. They're not trying to take over ice cream shops to get this going.
You can't tell me it's a better world without Bob Floy.
No, look, I think I love stories where people try to conquer the world by taking over ice cream shops. Yes. I just don't think this story is that story.
Yeah,
I don't have any problem with all the nonsense they added in because earlier in the season, because generally, I mean, again, they didn't plan it out very well. They didn't plan out any of the time travel at all. But I think they could have found a way to pull it all together when they got to the future it's just they didn't. Like they just they get to the future and then they just go, like a bunch of stuff, and it's like, wow.
I think they
really
made too many
fits.
changes in wrong spots that don't help the story. Because like they could have taken the story and made it work for the '90s anime and still had it be a bit more lighthearted, which would be hard considering how this story ends in the manga. It's very sad, but I feel like they could have made something work, because there are pieces of the storyline that they use again in S, and it doesn't make sense and doesn't have the emotional impact, but it's still there, because they're clearly like, oh, this was good, sorry we didn't use it originally. But yeah, I don't know. They just made some weird choices, which the 90s anime does on most occasions, but this is like the first spot where it just kind of frustrates me.
I will say, over the course of this weird explanation, we do get some really, really cool animation.
That's true.
There's a really cool shot of Nemesis, and then this, like, black hand comes out and crushes the planet and then turns into Demond, and then we see silhouettes of Rubius and the Spectre Sisters and Demond and Saphir, and like it's a really cool like way of representing this. It's just, it's hard to make sense of.
Yeah.
So yes, basically the Black Moon Clan evolved from the traders of Earth, and that's why they have superpowers. Although, wait, do they have superpowers? Yeah, I guess they do. They like can like float. What do they have other powers?
I mean, they can create monsters.
I guess droids, but I don't. Are the droids?
Are the droids the people?
Yeah, that's
Has Sailor Moon been vaporizing people that her future self exiled from paradise? That's some Old Testament shit.
Maybe you're right. Maybe the droids are the people. That's a good question.
Clearly, Cohen and like the Spectre Sisters had powers, but like I think the question was like whether they had powers because of the malefic black crystal is what we were asking, because they were cured presumably of their superpowers, right?
Well,
when they got moon healed.
Yes, but what they say here is that it's the evil energy of Nemesis that evolved them and gave them these powers. So it's presumable. I mean, again, that's not how evolution works, but whatever. We can presume that she can purge them of the negative energy, and that will also purge them of their negative energy base powers. Yes?
Sure. Why not? Why not?
All right. Well, it's all good.
So then we see like there's another really cool shot of like the kind of spaceship, the weird like pointy spaceship that the Black Moon Clan was in, like Rubius and the Spectre Sisters were in over Tokyo. We see like an invasion of like hundreds of those coming down on Crystal Tokyo, and there's talk about how the Black Moon Clan is invading. And how many Guardians fell, leaving only the Crystal Palace, which again, that's like a hint of having more Sailor Scouts, right? Like that's a hint that we're eventually going to get a lot of Sailor Guardians.
And then a death-like quiet fell over the planet. I would say death fell over the planet, but all right, it could be a death-like quiet. And then get ready for the dumbest part of the episode. You ready?
Yes.
Don't worry, the castle was protected by Sailor Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, and Venus, to which the Sailor Scouts reply, they had the same names as us?
Oh, God.
Yeah, guys, they did, oddly enough. Remember how Darien lives forever? You guys too. And this is the problem, is that they like, okay, I can understand this being a shocking revelation, but again, the first time. Keep up with the moving parts, guys. This part gets real dumb. So, okay, Guardians that share your name? No, dudes, it's fucking you guys in the future. What? Oh my God! Oh wow, that's crazy.
I can't wait till we redub this episode.
And so then he's like, and so yeah, by the way, I'm a ghost because I'm like really wounded, and like so I'm sending out a hologram or some shit. The only thing that could save us is the legendary silver crystal, and the only person who can use it is the queen, and she's sleeping forever. Nothing can wake her up, by the way. Oh, that's so sad. Jesus. There's so much happens.
There's so much that happens, but it's all, like, none of it is presented in a particularly exciting way.
So
like,
then...
It looks good. Like, there's good animation. Yeah. Like, everything looks really cool, but, like, the way that it's all being explained is like, wait, what happened? Like, Ice Age? What?
So then Sailor Moon exhibits one brain cell for a moment and goes, wait, hang on. Neo Queen Serenity. That sounds kind of familiar.
So, does that mean a new Queen Serenity?
Is there any chance that maybe, and he's like, yeah, that's you. That's your future self. Okay, so now it's 100% clear that she is Queen Serenity and he is King Endymion. And then they get even dumber because, first of all, Deek Dub update. Her response to this information is, my first grade teacher said I'd never make it out of grade school.
Pretty great.
And then when she sees Queen Serenity, which she knows is herself, she says, does she always wear her nightgown in public? Someone needs to give her a fashion citation.
Oh, that's rough. That's rough.
How dare she? That dress is so pretty.
It is. It's a gorgeous one. But apparently Serena does not believe that.
So it is then revealed.
Okay, here we go. Yes.
That Prince Consort Endymion and Neo Queen Serenity had a daughter that they named Usagi Small Lady Serenity. That is her full name. It's a very weird name. Because why would you name your child Small Lady? Because she's gonna grow eventually. I mean, maybe that's why she doesn't. Maybe they named her Small Lady, so she has to be a small lady forever.
Self-fulfilling name prophecy.
Yeah, that's magic, dude. They didn't know they were doing magic on her, but they did it. Names, powerful magic, true names, dude.
Technically, you did skip a part, but yes, this is all true.
Okay, yes. So they're like, oh yeah, this is your kid. This is our kid, aka your kid.
No, that's the problem. That's what I'm saying. This is why I'm saying they're like the dumbest people on the fucking face of the planet. Because he literally goes, I'm you. That lady, she's you. Me and that lady had this baby. And they're like, oh, that's very interesting. And then they go, that's your baby. What? They freak out. He has to literally say the words. Rini is your kid. And then they're like, oh! And then they all freak out. They blush, glowing bright red, which is adorable.
It's so cute.
And then Ray is like, when did this happen?
Yeah, I think that, in the new dub, because I guess the phrase is longer in Japanese, Ray says, what year, month, and day did that happen exactly?
Oh my god, it's amazing.
Yeah, this part I don't mind because we get a lot of fun, the reactions make it really fun.
Oh, sure.
This scene in Petite Stranger, the musical, it's adorable and it's hilarious. It's one of my favorite scenes. Because the woman that plays Usagi just hams it up completely, and she's running around the stage screaming, and it's so adorable. Endymion tells her, and she just freaks out and grabs Venus, because in the manga the other three are kidnapped, so it's only her and Venus. And she's just kind of shaking Venus and runs around. She's like, I can't believe it. Then she stops and grabs her chest and has a smirk on. She's like, but I want to believe it. And it's so hilarious.
So we get a flashback scene of how Mamoru, and I will say, I love that Mamoru is clearly a stay-at-home dad to the immortal goddess who rules over the universe.
Sure.
That's awesome.
I appreciate it. So
we get one of those sepia tone flashback, those watercolor flashback shots of Mamoru sitting on Chibiusa's bed. Don't sit on that bed. You know she's wet that bed, dude. Don't sit there. Don't think I forgot. Prince Consort Endymion is sitting on her bed, telling her stories of the invincible guardian Sailor Moon. So that's pretty cool. It's Mamoru hangs out with Chibiusa, and he's like, oh yeah, your mom, she's a superhero. She fought these monsters. She's invincible. No one can stop her. But the weird thing is that he's sitting on her bed in his full tuxedo, with his domino mask on and his cape, holding his crown scepter. Mm-hmm. That's a very weird way to interact with one's child.
Look, he's very committed to his look. I appreciate that.
He's formal. So yeah, he's told her all these stories about Sailor Moon being an awesome superhero, and he goes, that's probably why she went back in time to, check you out and be like, you can save us. And then again, just in an effort to make everyone really spell shit out. He's like, oh, I see. Like, if the bad guys go back in time and they win in the past, then, like, they've won in the future. Oh, that's fucking genius. That's amazing. And he's like, yeah. And that's why I'm asking you to, like, don't let them win. And, like, as if they were like, wow, we were going to say it didn't fucking matter, but I guess it matters. Thanks.
Also, when they're talking about how if they win in the past, the future will be destroyed, all the scouts are just standing there blank-faced, and it's the cats who are, like, it's Lunar and Artemis who are like, oh, yeah, if they win, it's bad, right?
Oh,
and
man.
so then, this is the worst. I mean, this isn't the worst, but this is pretty bad. Then
Here we go.
Usagi's like, well, wait, why did you say that we had to break up? Because that doesn't seem to be a problem with any of this. And
Yeah.
the ghost of King Endymion is like, oh yeah, that's right, I was just fucking with you. I just, I had to make sure you liked each other. Because I'm not you from the future who would know or anything. But, I just had to make sure your love is strong. So I just had to put you through a little test to test.
Yeah, because that's healthy.
Yeah, what a dickhole.
It really is obnoxious. Like, I like Darian a lot, but I can't defend this. There's nothing.
He's the worst.
There's no way to defend Endymion here. And it's especially funny that they're both okay with it. Like, neither of them,
this is fine.
Yeah, they both took it as, like, in fact, Usagi seems to be like, oh, they needed our love to be strong. That means our love is going to be strong. Like, she's like, good news all around. And it's like, wait, that guy fucked with you for no reason. Oh, well.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look, I sometimes do that. Like, I sometimes, like, will just, like, break up with Aiden for a couple months just to make sure it's legit, just to see what happens. No, that's
It's
monstrous.
Yeah. Again, none of that's in the manga. That was all 100% made up.
And I can only imagine watching this not knowing there's a manga, Like, if you're only experiencing the show and you're like, that's such a weird plot point, and then, like, because it's obvious why they're like, oh yeah, that was just a thing, don't worry about it. Like, that's because, it didn't happen in the storyline.
Yeah.
Like, that's completely extraneous. We just need to sweep it under the rug real quick. Like, thinking that is the actual reason that happened must be mind-boggling if you're only watching the show.
Yeah, there's actually a scene earlier on in the manga when, like, Chibiusa first shows up where Usagi and Mamoru have, like, a little fight, but then you get to see them, like, talk to each other, and they get over it, and, like, they have a healthy relationship, and you're like, oh, that's nice.
Aww.
And then in the anime, you're just
Which
like,
is a thing we never see.
Yeah, in the anime, he's just kind of like, yeah, I'm just gonna fuck with you. It's gonna be terrible, but it'll make sense later? Haha, no, it won't.
I hate that guy.
So then they get attacked by Dark Moon Storm Attack, which is a thing we've seen, like, once before, and now we're going to see again.
Yeah, so Prince Damon shows up. Prince Damon shows up and he's like, yeah, what's up? It's me, Prince Damon. I'm a bad guy. And the scouts, the Senshi, try to use their powers, but they can't because he's doing something. There is, like, a really cool moment where the black moon on his forehead, like, turns to the side and opens up as a third eye, which is actually, like, we have not seen that before, right?
No, that's new.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, for that to happen for the first time, like, right here, and be like, oh, is that what that is? Okay. Whatever he's doing with his evil Dark Moon attack prevents the Senshi from using their powers on him. Like, they can't get it together. Even Shine Aqua Illusion, even Mercury Bubbles.
She just goes,
can't.
Shine, like that.
Yeah, well, it's because she's not doing the pose beforehand, like she was doing in that one episode.
That threatening pose. And I think it's funny that he has two blue eyes, but his third eye is brown.
No, it's like yellow.
Is it yellow? I thought it was brown. Well, either way, it's weird looking.
So he uses his eye power to levitate Sailor Moon, and then who's holding Chibiusa. And then Memory's like, well, I'll just hit him with a cane. This is fine. Throws the cane at him, and of course, Chibiusa just plummets to the ground and is caught But in all the hubbub, he manages to escape with Sailor Moon. And this is... Shannon, is this the scene that you wanted to talk about for 40 minutes?
Oh, this whole, end of the this whole end of this episode.
Yeah,
So it's
I
the
gotta
part
say,
where they're together, right?
yeah, do not like this scene.
Once we get to the hang glider, that's when I get livid.
Okay. Wait. Before we get to the hang glider,
God damn it.
we have to mention that Endymion goes, "Hey, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine, guys. I know where they're going." And at this point, I immediately go, don't you fucking remember what happened? Like, can't you just say, this all works out fine? I'm you, remember?
Been 1,000 years.
Oh,
He's still asleep
God,
from
get
that,
outta
from that
here.
Ice Age nap.
I want him to just be like, guys, don't worry about it. Obviously, she doesn't die. She's the queen of the future. Obviously, it'll be okay. Go get her. No problem.
You know what's great to have with your tension? No tension.
Yeah, but they don't have him show up and say, don't worry about it. As soon as he's trying to reassure them, I'm like, yeah, reassure them right. Just tell them what happens. Here's what happens. Like this. Don't worry about it.
So,
Anyway.
I think the solution is, as always, less Mamoru. So here we go. Here we go.
Awkward stuff.
The
awkward
next
stuff.
scene.
Yeah, let's do it.
Usagi wakes up in, I guess it's Damon's bed.
Yeah.
She has been dressed in her queen gear. Her
No.
queen dress.
No. That's an all-new dress.
Yeah.
Is this a new one? Okay. Oh, I guess you're right. It's not the Princess Serenity dress. I thought this was the one that she wore in the future.
No, which I will say, this dress is taken directly from the manga, which is pretty cool, and then the rest of the scene happens.
Now, my first thought when she woke up was, is that Usagi or is that Sailor Moon? And the answer is, it's Usagi, it turns out.
Yeah, she doesn't have her tiara on, man.
Yeah, but
Of
because
course.
she could take off her tiara. That literally was an attack. Like, it does come off.
Do you want to talk about this dress for a little bit? Because it's
As long as-
very elaborate.
Yeah, it's great.
It's no, I think it's really cool. Like, it's got like all kinds of weird patterns and like strings of pearls on the shoulders and wings. It has wings.
I just
Yeah,
don't
it's
like
really
that she's in it.
Well, yeah, because you don't want to wake up in some dude's bed wearing a new outfit, because there's
Right.
only one answer, and that's
Yeah.
put you in it.
Yeah,
And that's
I mean,
gross.
look, that the least of the problems with this scene. She's worried for a little bit because she can't find her brooch with the silver crystal, but she has it. It's right there next to her. But her strength has been sapped. She has been weakened, which is when Prince Demond walks in. Shannon, why don't you take this one? Why don't you handle this one? This scene.
I have to separate how it goes down in the anime.
Well, first tell us how it goes down in the manga.
Alright. Well, I have to backtrack a little bit to explain in the manga, because when they have the scene where they're talking to King Endymion and he's explaining, like, everything, Usagi starts to disappear, and they're just kind of like, oh, right, you guys shouldn't exist in this timeline because you're next to your future selves and it's going to ruin everything. Go back to normal timeline. So they go back to the normal timeline, and that's when, like, they all kind of just, like, talk about what's happening. Usagi and Mamoru have a fight, and then Prince Demon shows up and kidnaps her.
So that's in the present.
Yeah.
Oh.
He kidnaps her in the present instead of in the past. Which,
Or in the future.
yeah, in the future, sorry. When he takes Usagi, it's like right after they have a fight and they're all trying to save her and they can't because he's using... The third eye was given to him by Wise Man, and it basically, he can just control whoever he's looking at. And, yeah, so then he takes Usagi and it's basically the same. She wakes up in the outfit. He's got a big hologram set up for her that's showing Neo Queen Serenity, because he's just a creep. He's like, hey, see that? That's you in the future, and I have you now. Isn't that cool? Hey, that's who you're gonna be, and now I have you now, so I can have, like, both. It's awesome.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah, Prince Demond's a bit of a creep, I think, is what we're getting at here.
He's the worst. I used to like him when I was a kid, and then I watched the show when I grew up, and I was just like, oh, no. Oh, gross. No, I can't like this. I'm sorry, little me. Basically, he just goes... After this, he kind of just starts talking about what the Black Moon Clan wants to do, which is when he's just like, yeah, I don't like the fact that you make everyone live forever, because our bodies are meant to die, so I kind of just want wars to come back so we can kill everyone. Why is that so bad? And then we kind of see a flashback where he falls in love with Neo Queen Serenity because she gets furious at him because there's like the whole scene where she loses Chibiusa, so she runs outside the palace to try to find her. And Damon's just out there murdering people, and she gets furious at him, And he's just like, oh god, you're so hot. I love how you're mad at me for murdering people. This is the greatest. Now I'm gonna change all my plans so I can have you. And then he's like rubbing it in her face. He's like, oh well, now I have you. You can't transform. I will kill all your friends if you try to leave me. And just like, hey, what's up? Let's make out. And then he makes out with her, and she tries to transform, and she can't. And he's just like, oh yeah, by the way, I can control your body. You can't transform, and I'm just gonna keep you. And then he just leaves. And it's the worst. I hate it.
Wait, so this is the manga?
Yeah.
They actually make out in the manga?
Yes, he kisses her in the manga, and she freaks out.
Oh, man.
Because he's controlling her body, so he just kind of like keeps showing off. He's like, oh look, I can make you sit down, I can make you stand up, come over here. And he makes her kiss him, and she like freaks out, tries to transform, and then is just like livid that she can't transform and that he did this.
And he just leaves at the end?
Let me pull this up again. Yeah, let's see. He kisses her, and they're all just kind of like, ah, ha, ha, you can't do anything. You're powerless against me. And to show you how powerless you are, I'm just going to leave because I know you can't do anything. And she's just all sad that she's alone.
That's effed, dude.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, I think in the anime he doesn't quite kiss her.
No.
Because Tuxedo Mask shows up on a stupid goddamn hang glider.
Yes. Now, why don't you like Tuxedo Mask on a hang glider? This is a cool thing to me.
Oh my god, it's not!
He gets a hang glider.
I have a lot of...
This is Batwing.
I can keep going with how this goes down in the manga, because I'll tell you in the manga, it's one of my all-time favorite scenes because it's so great for Usagi, and it's just one of the scenes that solidifies how good she is as a character, and it just really offends me that in the manga they replace it with a dude flying in on a hang glider and picks her up and leaves.
Yeah, I have complicated feelings about this. Like, I don't like either of the scenes that we've talked about so far, the stuff that we've talked about so far, because basically what happens in the anime is the same thing, where, you know, Demond has her prisoner and he can, you know, control her and she can't transform, and so he's getting ready to kiss her, and she kind of freaks out and is, you know, internally going, someone's about to kiss me that's not Mamoru, this is terrible. And then Tuxedo Mask shows up on a hang glider, which, like Jordan, I'm like, well, if he has to be here, at least he can show up on a hang glider and throw some roses, do some cool stuff. I think the question is whether it is preferable to have this scene where a villain is like controlling a woman's body and, you know, essentially like forcing himself on her.
Yep.
Whether it is better to have it happen and then something else happen later, or whether it is better to have that interrupted, but you end up with the woman who is your main character being rescued by a man.
Yeah. Can I keep going to what Usagi does?
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to establish that is what happens in the anime, is that, you know, he gets rosed after Tuxedo Mask breaks in through a window.
Yeah. Because, like, I feel it's one of those things that it's so stupid and so Tuxedo Mask that I feel like I should like it, but then I just remember this scene in the manga and how much it meant to me, and I just get livid. Because what happens in the manga is after Daemon leaves, she's all by herself, and at this point in the manga, like, Tuxedo Mask has already disappeared. Like, he's gone after Chibiusa because that whole thing's going on with Wise Man. And there's only Venus, and she's not with Usagi. The other three are kidnapped, and Usagi has no idea where they are, and Daemon just threatened to kill them if she does anything. So she's just basically talking about, she's like, I'm so alone. I'm so scared right now. I don't know what to do. I'm powerless. And then she just kind of sits for a second, and she gets a voice of Neo Queen Serenity being like, your power's within you. Just believe in yourself. It's okay. And Usagi just goes, you're right. I just need to believe in myself. That's why I haven't been able to use all my powers in the future, is because I'm not believing in myself. I got all scared that Mamoru was showing so much affection to Chibiusa, and I felt that, like, he wasn't paying attention to me, and I let myself not believe in myself. That's bullshit. I'm gonna believe in myself. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna make my powers work, and I'm gonna save myself, and I'm gonna save my friends, I'm gonna save Mamoru and Chibiusa, and everything is going to be okay. So she gets up and leaves the room and goes and finds everyone and just saves herself. And, like, she goes up against Daemon and Saphir without transformed. She's not transformed at all, and she's like, I don't care that I'm not transformed, I'm gonna fight you. Saphir threatens to kill her, and then she transforms into Sailor Moon in a place where she was told she cannot transform, but she does it anyways because she believes in herself. And then she saves her friends, gets them to transform, and then they all fight back. And it's great, and I love it. And they replaced it with a hang glider.
Yeah, and that panel where Saphir has a hand on her throat and is about to stab her with a crystal, and then she like explodes with Sailor Moon power. It's pretty awesome.
It's so good. It's what, like, I love Usagi so much. Like, I'll be honest, she's not one of my top 5 favorite scouts, but it's moments like this that
I'm not even in the top 5. Oh, man.
Look, I love all the scouts.
Sure.
I'm trying so hard to keep my shit together right now because I love this scene so much.
Sure. Yeah.
And just, oh God, now that I pointed it out, my body's like, do it, Shannon, cry. No, I'm not gonna do it. It's just, you get to see her be so strong, but she's always been so weak. But when it matters, she's strong and she doesn't care and she just wants to save everyone and she's so fearless. And just to have that erased from the anime is so damaging to her character, and it breaks my heart.
Yeah, I think like we've talked pretty often about the problem of having Tuxedo Mask intervene and save her as much as he does.
Yeah.
And this scene, I think, is the one where it's unforgivable.
Yeah.
To use Sailor Moon's catchphrase. But again, I prefer the resolution from the manga, but I prefer the timing from the anime.
Yeah.
You know? So
like, I get it. I see why they did it, because it is a show for little girls, and they don't want to show Usagi being sad and alone after being, like, taken hostage by a dude. But I think it's just really important to show that she overcame it herself, and she didn't have to rely... Well, I guess she still kind of relies on believing in herself from the power of her friends and Serenity, but I'll take that over someone literally walking into a room and picking her up and carrying her out of the room, because she already had, like, her agency taken away from her by Damon, and she doesn't get to get it back herself.
yeah, and imagine how much more awesome this scene would have been if we got that scene where she, explodes with Sailor Moon power, and where her future self is like, hey, you need to, you just got to believe.
Yeah, this scene in the musical is my favorite song in the musical. Like, the way they handle it in the musical is really good, and it's just very powerful, because they it's like the One Day More song from Les Mis, where it's everyone singing together at the same time, and it's just a big number. Because it's Usagi singing about how she's lost and she's afraid and she doesn't believe, and it's the other 3 scouts waking up in the dungeons, just like, we heard Usagi's voice, she's scared, we need to tell her how much we love her and that she's going to be okay and she's going to get out of it. And then it's also Venus being sad that she's stuck somewhere else and she can't help the 3, she can't help Usagi, and it's just all of them singing together, and all the girls are just like, Usagi, we believe in you, you can do it, we all love you so much. And Usagi's just like, you guys are right, I can do this, what's up, let's go fight Saphir, I'm gonna go kick his ass, it's gonna be great.
I can hear the trembling in your voice.
Look, don't judge me right now, I care about this scene.
No,
so
I'm not. I'm not judging at all. I'm not judging at all. It is you. Like, just focus on the hang glider. We won't be recording for much longer.
Oh, I'll be okay. I already warned Jake. I'm like, Jake, there's a small chance I may cry. If it happens, make me sound cool.
So yes, Tuxedo Mask shows up, crashes through the window, uses his extending cane to rescue Sailor Moon, and flies off on a hang glider.
Wait.
Esmeralda watches.
No. No, that is not what happens.
What did I miss?
You missed that mysteriously Demand is surrounded by Dark Moon Storm.
Oh, that's right.
The reason he can't stop them is all of a sudden there's a storm attacking him, which is like, wait, is that Tuxedo Mask's new power? And the answer is no. Esmeralda did that.
Yeah, so it's 2 people rescuing Sailor Moon instead of just the one.
Oh, God.
So then Saphir is like Saphir shows up while Esmeralda is watching them hang glide away, and it's like, hey, dummy. A lot of real smooth moves here from the Black Moon Clan.
So you didn't let them escape, did you? No, that would be dumb. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
And then is the implication it isn't. Okay, no, you know what? In fact, he that's his brother is Demand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I was like, wait, the implication is not that he's in love with Demand too, because that's his brother.
No, he's just mad that Damon's stupid and messing everything up because he's in love with a chick.
In the Deke dub, this scene becomes Saphir confessing that he's in love with Emerald.
Huh.
I mean, I can see that happening based on the body language.
Yeah.
Because because what he says to her in the scene is, "Yeah, I know how you feel," and she's like, "What?" And he's like, "I also hate Sailor Moon," which is hilarious because I think we all kind of assumed they hated Sailor Moon.
Right.
Like, I'm pretty sure the Black Moon Clan hated Sailor Moon before this, but I'm glad we have it spelled out now. And Esmeralda's like, "Okay, awesome. We all hate Sailor Moon. Let's murder them." And that's it, right? That's where the episode ends.
Well, they kiss. Mamoru and Serena. No, that's not right, but you know what I'm saying. They kiss, and then it starts snowing. And
that's it. What an exhausting episode.
So it's a non-formula episode.
No, it absolutely is. It does not adhere to the usual formula. There's no monster of the week. It's all plot advancement and it's all exposition. But it's all exposition and plot advancement that I think is maybe not handled the best way.
Yeah.
But I am someone who wants like why didn't this episode have a barbershop monster in it? That would have spiced things up. Where's a pencil monster when you need one?
I just want all my girls to be best friends and have all their powers from friendship, then go beat people's butts. And it didn't happen, and it makes me very sad.
So, Jordan.
Yeah.
Did this episode run with a Sailor Moon says? Because I'm very curious about it.
Of course it did.
All right, well, let's hear it.
Video games are major cool, but they shouldn't be your only interest. There's way more to life. Get outside and play. Hike, exercise, see your friends.
Or you could try studying or paying attention to your responsibilities.
There's nothing wrong with video games in moderation, but there's plenty else going on in the world. Oh, don't miss out. Sailor Moon says...
I didn't think I could get angrier at this episode.
You didn't hear it because I have my microphone muted, but as soon as she's like, we'll be together, Darian. Video games are great. I lost it.
And rightly so.
Oh my god. No. What?
Yeah, they just grabbed a random...
to this episode and she wants to talk about video games?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like we've learned a lot. Shannon, what did you learn from this episode? It's time for Sailor Business Says.
Oh my god. Somewhere between if my future self shows up in purple, throw a cane at it, or if I'm stuck in a really bad situation, hey, just wait for someone to hang glide in, it'll be fine.
Oh.
Jordan, what did you learn?
I learned the proper response to an ice age, which is sleep through it.
I learned that believing in yourself is great, but hang gliding is better.
It's pretty cool. I mean, you probably have to believe in yourself to hang glide.
I mean, look, believing in yourself generally helps in almost all situations. So,
yeah, I can't think of one off the top of my head where it's like, oh, believing in yourself would really hurt you there.
So yeah, like final thoughts on the episode. Like I said, like it's this one and next week's so much explaining.
Yeah.
So much having to be like, no, okay, look, we know we've been at this for 20 episodes, but here's how this is supposed to be working. And it can be a little bit of a chore to get through. Of the major villains in the arcs I've seen, Demond is kind of my least favorite. Like I like Rubius because he's just like pure evil. Like, he just wants to kill people. And I like, I like Queen Beryl a lot. Like Queen Beryl is really fun, and the Four Kings of Heaven are really fun. But Demond is like Demond's a creep.
Yeah.
And you don't get that explanation from the manga that Shannon was talking about, where it's like no. I want war to come back because that's the natural order of things, which I think is a really interesting motivation that we never quite get.
He is an interesting villain. He's just unfortunately a creep. I have a lot of times in my notes where I just said call the police on this guy. I don't.
Well, as we know, the police in the Juban district are very ineffective.
Yeah, I don't want help.
Well, also, the entire city's dead.
Yeah.
At this point. So call the Nemesis police. Even they would be like, ugh.
So Shannon, any more thoughts on the episode?
No, I'll save you guys from my trembling voice, but I am very proud of me that I didn't break down. I'm very, very proud of me.
Listen,
Thank you for risking it.
If you need to take a moment, you go ahead.
No, I'm good. I got it. I'm a pro. I'm a pro at crying over Sailor Moon and just getting on with my day. I'm used to it by now. It's fine.
Okay, good. Yeah, like this. Jordan, any final thoughts on the episode? I've kind of said my piece.
Well, like I said, it's better than last week.
Yes, because last week's was just nonsense.
Yeah, it was awful. So it improved on that. But at the same time, like I implied when we were talking about the government of Tokyo, I want us to get back to a world where they have lives that are sensible, that you can care about. Because as much as you can talk about the idea that she's a queen of the universe and it's awesome, and it's like, that's a cool thing to know that happens after the show is over. It's not a thing that's necessarily interesting to watch.
Yeah.
It's her trying to live a life that is interesting to watch.
That's something I hadn't really considered, like the idea that knowing she becomes queen of the universe, like that's a great epilogue and a great, it's your destiny to do this. But like actually seeing it happen does like take away like a lot of the fun tension and a lot of the fun personality of if the manga and the anime both do different things really well, and I think the thing the anime does really well is that personality and that fun, the goofiness. Yeah. Like you said, Shannon, it's a comedy, and this kind of removes the humor and fun and tension and personality from it, like going into the future like this.
Yeah. So there we go.
Well, fortunately, we don't have to worry about that next episode, because now everything's on the table. We know how everything happened.
Oh my God, Chris!
There's not going to be any reason to continue with the explanations. Sorry, Jordan, what?
I just realized we never did the Deke episode title.
Oh, we didn't. Let's see. Should I just guess?
You're never going to get it. There's just
Future Shock already happened? We already did Future Shock, right?
Future Shock was last episode.
Future Shock was last episode? I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. I'll give you the first word. Legend.
Legend of the Silver Crystal?
No, wrong direction. Legend of the Negamoon.
Okay. That's a very accurate title.
Sure. You learn the legend of
We do learn the legend of the Negamoon in this. All right. Shannon, before we head out for the day, can you please let everyone know where to find you and everything that you do online?
Yeah, you can find me at Twitter at Shannon Maynor, and my Tumblr